Hello guys, this is High Recap 2023. Today I want to explain one of the best action movies by Tom Cruise called Top Gun Maverick. An FA-18 fighter jet was being flown over the Indian Ocean by the crew of the USS Theodore Roosevelt aircraft carrier at the start of the movie. California is where an American Navy fighter jet's test pilot was Captain Maverick. Captain Maverick appears to start his motorcycle and move it in the direction of the testing ground for fighter jets. When the head engineer, Hondo, arrived at the location, he said that Admiral Hammer will terminate their hypersonic scramjet program, Dark Star, and redirect program funding to a more advanced unmanned fighter jet development. At the moment, Dark Star is constrained by the fighter jet's inability to reach Mach 10. When Captain Maverick heard the explanation, he promptly invited all of his co-workers to test the State Route 72 fighter before Admiral Hammer arrived. Admiral Hammer abruptly arrived at the site as work was being done on the preparations. Testing is started once everything has been deemed safe. Admiral Hammer, who had just arrived, instantly told Hondo to stop the tests. Maverick continued the test while indicating that the State Route 72 he was operating had a problem. The fighter jet will be propelled until it reaches the necessary speed after reaching the anticipated altitude. The figures gradually started to accelerate, approaching Mach 10. He eventually succeeded in accelerating the fighter jet to Mach 10 with the aid of Maverick. At headquarters, happy cheers were heard from every crew. Admiral Hammer, on the other hand, seemed irritated. Maverick, who is known for always wanting to push himself, is underwhelmed by his accomplishments. He accelerated the fighter jet once again. As a result, his aircraft catches fire in the air, cutting off communication with Maverick and the squad. Maverick attends a restaurant in another location while still wearing his jet pilot suit. Then, with everyone in the restaurant seemingly staring at him, he ordered a drink. A little while later, the rescue crew arrived to take him back to the US Naval Base. Maverick challenges Admiral Hammer the following day. Admiral Hammer examined the lists of Maverick's accomplishments. The Admiral is perplexed as to Maverick's continued captaincy given his excellent list of accomplishments. Maverick ought to have at least 2 stars and the rank of Admiral. Maverick responds that he does not want to be elevated to the rank of Admiral since he will never again be able to pilot a fighter jet. Actually, Admiral Hammer wished to discipline and dismiss Maverick for defying instructions. He chose to send Maverick to a naval aviation facility in California as a Top Gun instructor, nevertheless, due to other factors. Admiral Iceman, who was Maverick's friend and former foe 30 years ago while he was still a Top Gun student, turns out to be the person in question. Iceman, who is currently in charge of the American Pacific Fleet, gives Admiral Hammer the order to dispatch Maverick as a Top Gun instructor. Maverick appears to be delighted with the task. Admiral Cyclone, the air base commander, and Admiral Warlock, his partner, greeted Maverick as he arrived at the base. Their upcoming task was quickly explained by Admiral Warlock. A number of NATO agreements have been broken by the construction of unauthorized uranium enrichment facilities. Their allies there are directly threatened by the uranium produced there. To destroy the plant before it is put into service, the Pentagon has instructed them to put together an attack team. The issue was that the factory was located in a GPS-incompatible underground bunker behind a valley. Along with multiple fifth-generation fighter jets, attack helicopters, surveillance planes, and even some extremely old F-14 fighter jets, it is also encircled by a missile system that senses heat. Admiral Cyclone then inquires as to Maverick's intended method of industrial destruction. Maverick investigated the area and prepared a 2 F-18 fighter jet attack. The mission, he claimed, was virtually impossible. Because even if they were successful in attacking the factory, they would still be attacked and killed by the missiles and fighter jets there. Even though Maverick still lacks 3 pilots, he is eager to accept this assignment. Admiral Warlock interrupted Maverick's statement after overhearing it and provided some clarifications. Warlock argues that he didn't bring Maverick back to fly fighter jets, but rather to train 12 of the top students from other squadrons to be the mission's pilots. Maverick initially declined because he felt it fell short of his expectations. But he finally got the order because it was his final option and Admiral Iceman, his best friend, had asked for it. Maverick walks to a pub to unwind after his encounter with Warlock and Cyclone. He was shocked to see his ex-girlfriend Penny Benjamin working as the bartender at the establishment. Then, each of them shares a memory from the past. When Penny abruptly rang the bell, everyone presents joyfully applauded. Then, she displayed a notice on the bulletin board that stated that breaking the rule against using cell phones in the pub would result in Maverick being forced to treat everyone there badly. Several naval fighter jet pilots gathered at the bar a short while later, as seen by Maverick. They are Bob, Rooster, Coyote, Phoenix, Payback, Funboy, Hangman, and Funboy. Maverick is drawn to one of the pilots. where he discovers that Goose, his long-deceased friend in Rio from 30 years ago, is the father of Rooster. Hangman is the haughtiest and self-important of them all. Hangman and Rooster, who both assert to be the best pilots of their generation, are a little competitive. Hangman then believes he is entitled to lead their class. But everyone disregarded his attitude. Other pilots joined them at the pub a little while later. Harvard, Yale, Omaha, and Fritz were among them. Maverick then looked in his wallet but discovered he was short on cash to buy drinks for everyone at the bar. He was expelled from the bar as punishment from Hangman and the others. Maverick looks back through the window when he is outdoors and is astounded to see Goose playing the piano. Maverick recalls the time when he, Goose, and the younger Rooster all accompanied Rooster in singing along to the same song. The Top Gun pilots were gathered by Air Force admirals the following day. The mission will be carried out by the pilots chosen from Top Gun, a school for the top pilots. One of the 6 pilots chosen as the primary implementer will serve as the team leader. The remaining pilots will keep their reserve status. Admiral Warlock then gave them the name of their teacher. Then Maverick made his entrance in front of the class. Maverick was their instructor, and Hangman and the others were shocked to see him after kicking him out of Penny's pub earlier. Maverick begins his class by destroying the F-18 aircraft manual that they would be studying. He figured the opponent would be familiar with its contents as well. The enemy is unaware of the pilot's proficiency with flying his aircraft. Therefore, before conducting training, Maverick wants all pilots to demonstrate their unique skills. Rooster meets Maverick. When Hangman witnessed it, he had doubts about what actually transpired between Rooster and Maverick. Exercises for air combat maneuvers started. They are only permitted to use weapons and not missiles during this drill, according to the rules. Additionally, the plane's elevation cannot be less than 5,000 feet. Maverick will be opposed by 2 pairs of aircraft. Maverick will triumph if he downs just 1 aircraft. Payback recommended via a communications channel that whoever loses should push up as much as 200, and Maverick agreed. The Rooster and Payback teams began the first practice. Maverick has the ability to lock Rooster, making him lose and require 200 push-ups. Maverick will next concentrate on Team Phoenix and Team Hangman. During this exercise, Hangman abruptly left Phoenix and forced Maverick to imprison her. Then Hangman tries to catch up to Maverick, but Maverick flies his plane directly into the sun, blinding Hangman. Maverick locked Hangman's plane abruptly while he was unaware. Then Rooster asserts to Maverick that he is also capable of piloting a plane like Maverick. As a result, Rooster's aircraft began to spin and take a fast descent until it crossed the lower limit. Rooster makes an effort to overtake Maverick. But in the end, Maverick was the one to turn and lock Rooster. Phoenix questioned Rooster about what transpired between him and Maverick after observing the tension between the two of them. Maverick has withdrew his application to the Naval Academy to become a pilot, Rooster responds. This made Rooster's career in aviation difficult. That is the reason Rooster despises Maverick so intensely. Following the instruction, Admiral Cyclone called for Maverick. He blamed Maverick for teaching his kids to fly below the established limit. Maverick retorted that the assignment that needed to be completed would be lots simpler later. Additionally, he requested Admiral Cyclone's approval of the suggested lower limit. The rumor that Rooster's father previously flew with Maverick has recently come to light, according to Hangman and Coyote, who have just learned this information in the meantime. Maverick visited Penny's bar after he finished lecturing. He meets Amelia, Penny's daughter, there. It seems that Maverick's visit is necessary for him to satisfy Penny of his treaty debt. Following that, Penny and Maverick sailed away to fix Penny's boat. Then Maverick took Penny back to her house in a car. It appears that Maverick is once more showing interest in Penny. Maverick explained to his students the following day the path they would take to achieve the goal. He continued, flying very low to get through the steep, winding valleys of the mountains was the first stage to successfully completing the mission. Heat-detecting missiles are also positioned in the mountains, ready to launch attacks on any approaching foreign object. They were all forced to fly underneath the rocket's radar range as a result. Maverick informed that they needed to travel at a maximum altitude of 100 feet and a speed of 660 knots in order to finish this mission. The job must be finished in 2.5 minutes as well. If it is greater than that, the enemy's Gen 5 beginning plane will launch an immediate attack. They will fly the aircraft for the first time in 3 minutes at a height of 300 feet. Phoenix was the first disciple to get training. Phoenix had to fire a missile during this exercise because it went over the permitted height to escape the Coyote plane's quick braking. They should always communicate with the team, according to Maverick. The next exercise is Hangman with Payback. Driving quickly and not paying attention to his buddy Payback was Hangman with arrogance. Because the plane couldn't keep up with Hangman's pace, it smashed into the wall in front of him. Rooster and Yale will run a mission simulation as the third exercise. Even though they arrived at their destination late, Rooster told his companion to keep moving forward. In the scenario, they were also deemed dead for giving the adversary time to strike their planes. Rooster argued for himself by asserting that he would engage enemy fighter jets regardless of how sophisticated they were since, in his opinion, it wasn't about the plane but the pilot's prowess. When Hangman heard this, he made a remark about Rooster's father's passing. The altercation between Hangman and Rooster was immediately broken up by Maverick and the others. The following day, Maverick runs across Admiral Iceman, an old buddy who is currently battling throat cancer. He is therefore limited to typing on a computer to communicate. Maverick is said to have been saved by Iceman, who ensured the safety of his naval career. Maverick went on to clarify his concern that he lacked the ability to train top-tier pilots because his natural expertise was for flying fighter jets. Iceman is told by Maverick about Rooster and the mission he was sent on. It's possible that Rooster will pass away. But he would despise him even more if he didn't send Rooster. Maverick is unsure of what he wants to do and asks Iceman to stop making him a Top Gun instructor so that he may avoid responsibilities and Rooster's resentment. Iceman then advised Maverick to apply to teach at Top Gun since he was the only qualified individual permitted to do so. The following day, Maverick asks all the pilots to play ball on the sand to strengthen their bonds. The pilots eventually became more accustomed to one another according to their plan. Maverick ends up spending the night at Penny's place after appearing to be on a date with her. Maverick describes the internal battle he went through with Rooster and his mother, who had trusted him not to send him on a risky mission, while they were there. Additionally, it is known that Rooster's mother instructed him to delete Rooster's file out of concern for his safety. During the conversation, Amelia unexpectedly returned home, forcing Maverick to flee Penny's home. The uranium enrichment facility was working more quickly, Admiral Warlock declared the following day. As a result, the mission will also be expedited and completed in the coming week. Maverick continues by outlining the mission's most hazardous component. For this operation to be successful, two risky tasks must be completed. First and foremost, keep in mind that two pairs of F-18s will be approaching the target and will need to work together to maintain their position. The aircraft must instantly dive to the target in order to fly as low as possible without being seen by missile radar. The first two aircraft will then drop laser-guided bombs to mark the target. The second crucial element is that the second squad will drop a bomb with a strong explosive force to completely demolish the factory. This mission will be a failure if one of the teams fails. All of the aircraft had to be transported home across a very steep mountain once the factory was successfully destroyed. There is a chance that the pilot will pass out due to the movement's increased heart rate and the pressure it will put on their bodies. Additionally, the jet will be promptly identified by the radar after successfully navigating through a very steep mountain, and the missile will arrive to attack in a matter of seconds. Time is therefore vitally important to complete this job. Team Phoenix and Team Coyote teamed up to begin the exercise. Coyote still wasn't able to drop a bomb on the target during this drill. Coyote starts to recover consciousness as it dives. Then, Maverick locks Coyote's aircraft, setting off the alarm and causing Coyote to come to. In the meantime, the Phoenix aircraft detonates when it collides with a group of birds. Fortunately, Phoenix and Bob are able to leave. Admiral Warlock notifies Maverick that Iceman has passed away in the middle of training. Cyclone fired Maverick as Top Gun's instructor after Iceman passed away. Cyclone claimed that Maverick's exercises were impractical. Cyclone then took charge of the class. Maverick, meantime, makes an effort to support his claim that he finished the assignment in 2 minutes, 15 seconds. Cyclone first required proof before appointing Maverick as squad leader. Maverick begs Penny for her consent for this extremely risky mission after being named squad commander. The mission was carried out during the following few days. They were all aboard the USS Carrier. The primary pilot for this operation is then chosen by Maverick. They are co-pilot Funboy, Rooster, and Payback. They were teamed with Phoenix and co-pilot Bob as well. Hangman and the other pilots will be waiting on the ship in the interim. Rooster receives encouragement from Hangman. The mission then starts once the pilots board their separate aircraft. The cruiser carrier will launch missiles to strike airbases close to the uranium facility before crossing the enemy's border region. They then set a timer for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, at which point they entered enemy territory. At the cliff's edge, where they were about to pass, they could see enemy missiles poised to obliterate anything that caught their radar. They were told by the aircraft carrier that 2 Su-57 enemy aircraft were patrolling. Then Maverick pushed his aircraft ahead of the enemy to the objective spot. Rooster, who was left behind, began to run faster. Bob prepares a laser to mark the target while acting as co-pilot. Maverick continues by dropping the bomb at the indicated position after Bob has successfully marked the target. The second bomb was then dropped by Rooster after this. The factory was eventually destroyed by them. The initial phase of the mission had been finished. The pilots must then navigate a treacherous precipice during the following phase. But as they headed home, radar picked up on their plane, and they started to be pursued and attacked by missiles. When Rooster runs out of personal protective equipment, Maverick then saves him. Maverick's plane was consequently shot down by a missile, but fortunately he made it out alive. Then he heard an explosion not too long after. It turned out that the explosion was caused by an enemy plane, and Rooster flew back to save the man. Unfortunately, a missile attack resulted in damage to Rooster's aircraft. Rooster is still alive when Maverick arrives at his home in a hurry. By taking aircraft from the airbase, the two intend to flee from enemy territory. However, it transpires that the aircraft is an old model. Fortunately, the aircraft was still in good shape. With his talent, Maverick was able to launch the aircraft into the air. In the meanwhile, Rooster signaled to the main office. The fact that Maverick and Rooster are still alive surprises everyone. They were running when they saw two enemy planes below Maverick and Rooster. They feigned to be on the same side as the enemy after seeing the planes. They welcomed the two disguised planes. Then Maverick assaults the two planes while disguising himself. However, because to the sophistication of the plane, they were able to avoid Maverick's attack. They were getting ready to jump out of Maverick's plane using the ejection seats, but sadly the missiles had ran out. The ejection chair, it found out, could not be employed. When they were about to lose all hope, Hangman miraculously saved them by shooting down the opposing plane. They safely made it back to base. The group as a whole appeared to be happy for Maverick, Rooster, and Hangman. To resolve the conflict, Maverick and Rooster appear to hug and make up. A few days later, Maverick and Rooster were seen inspecting the aircraft. Soon after, Penny shows up, and Maverick flies her to her destination. Rooster is meanwhile examining a picture of his father and Maverick. The movie is over. They were getting ready to use the ejector seats to flee Maverick's aircraft because the fuel had run out. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe. High Recap 2023.